In this video, I'm going to show you how I generate qualified leads and profitable assignments using paid ads for my real estate wholesale clients. So if you're new to marketing, you need to understand the fundamentals. And honestly, even if you've been marketing for a while, you may be missing some of these key concepts, which is that when you have an ad, you have to drive them to become clients, obviously, right? But it doesn't happen just by posting your phone number and expecting everyone to call you, because there's different stages people are in within the pipeline. So there's the traffic phase, which is just getting your ad in front of them. Then through the awareness stage of them seeing it, they move into the interest stage where they're actually interested in what you have to offer. If they're interested enough, they're going to take the next step, which is the action phase, where they actually maybe click on the ad to go to a landing page. And then the final step before they become a client is booking a call directly into your calendar. And this is the highest quality prospect. So you go from the coldest amount of traffic all the way to the warmest, and then you end up actually signing them. And to get them from the interest to the action stage, this is where lead generation and even the traffic to interest stage, these are all where paid ads come into play. Now, the other core fundamental thing you need to understand is that everything is based around your offer or your unique selling proposition. Every marketing asset you have is centered around it. Because if you have great copy, you have great landing pages, you have great creatives, but your offer itself is not providing actual value and is basically a no-brainer to get to work with you, no one's going to end up converting because it's not relevant for them and it's not actually going to benefit them. So with that being said, when you're focusing on your clients, you want to avoid any sort of jargon and just talk from the client's lingo, their perspective, their language, what's in it for them. Because if you're not talking about it this way, you're going to get a ton of low quality leads. And honestly, you might not even get any conversions at all. So you always want to have a backlog of assets as well to refresh and test once you figure out what your winning offer is so that you can scale and build your business from there. Now, YouTube ads solves this entire process in one funnel. So at the top, you actually have the YouTube ads themselves getting in front of people that are, actively in the market looking to buy or to sell their home. And then from there, they get driven to a landing page. Now, the typical structure that I set up is you have about 3 to 5 different ads, 3 to 5 different hooks, one body, maybe 1 to 2 different bodies, all driving them to the same landing page. And this is where essentially you're going to have your VSL, video sales letter, lead magnet, or just a simple address form that's going to collect their information. And from here, this is when they get driven to a thank you page once they submit their information on a secondary form. And then obviously you have your follow-up systems, which is where the real fortune is, your phone, email, SMS, the actual CRM that obviously gives you the updates, providing assets within the CRM, sending them out via email and phone, whether it's case studies, testimonials, etc. And this is what gets people to actually become clients from literally just seeing your ads and never hearing of you before, or maybe they have, but most of the time they have not. Now, when running ads, the number one thing you need to understand is that all of this is extremely important and none of them can function without the other. But the thing you want to focus the most on is understanding how to actually create the creatives and the copy, because bad copy means no one's actually going to click, and it means none of these other processes are actually going to fall in place. It's much easier to tweak because you have more metrics when you have good copy versus if your problem starts at the fundamental issue, which is the actual ads themselves, you're never going to know how to optimize the landing page, how to optimize your thank you page or your follow-up sequences. So let's just go over how the ad account works. So basically what Google has is your ad account level. And within the ad account, you have your campaigns. Within the campaigns, you have ad groups. And then within the ad groups, you have your audiences and the actual ads themselves. So let's just hop on over to the ad account real quick. So essentially, this is what the ad account looks like. So this is going into a campaign after you've created your first. And this is the campaign level. All of this information here, right here, is the ad group level, and these are where you input your ads. So starting at the campaign level, just going over a basic overview. Basically, you have your daily budget you can input here. You have the location targeting, which I recommend goes into the campaign level. And basically, this is where you can just input different locations. So basically right here, I just have California, for example. Let's say you only wanted to target somewhere very specific, like a specific town. Let's say you want to do Las Vegas, Nevada, and you only wanted to do the small city within Las Vegas. You can even do radiuses of Las Vegas. You can do a 1 mile radius of Las Vegas, Nevada, which this is where it considers it. You can do neighborhood and you can geo-target specific areas in order to make that happen. So this is at the campaign level. And basically, you also can set your targeting in devices, which I only suggest you really do computers and mobile phones. Sometimes you can also enable tablets as well. But this is not going to be, a whole ad account setup video. I just want to show you what's in it. The added group level, this is important because this is where you show where your ads are actually going to end up being shown, And what I typically do is just use YouTube InStream. It's, basically the only thing that actually works. And what you can do is just set your audience here in the ad group level. If you go to a new audience, this is where you have things like interests and detailed demographics. Purchasing a home soon, let's say, for example, could be one of the relevant things. For sale by owner is a huge in-market audience that you'd want to use for targeting people that are actually in the market. So FSBO, put it in the wrong section. There we go. So real estate for sale by owner, for example. So that's the ad group level. And then at the ad level, this is where you're going to put your landing page, the actual creatives themselves, your assets, so your profile picture, like right here, you have the headlines, etc. And that's basically the high-level overview of the ad account. Now, diving into targeting a little bit more in depth, you need to understand that there is different types of targeting and you're going to get different results based on the targeting. So to keep it simple, there's different types. So you have niche targeting, which is going to attract higher quality but a lower quantity amount of leads. And then on the flip side, you have broad targeting, which is going to attract a lot more leads, but the quality is also going to be less. So things that I recommend you do when starting is things like demographics and in-market audiences. To be honest with you, if you just start with in-market audiences, for 99% of campaigns, these are going to perform the best. Life events, in-market events, for example, purchasing a home soon, homeowners, for sale by owner. These are all in-market audiences that perform well, as you saw for sale by owner before. Then you get a little bit more niche into custom segments. These are things like people's interests or websites that they've been actually typing in. So you manually input this in the targeting. So for example, you can type in cash offer on my home, type in, what's my home worth, or anything that's relevant to someone who's going to be getting cash for their home, who's in the market, right? And this is going to be a little bit more expensive because it's targeting people that are obviously more intent-based. The more niche you go, the more intent-based they are. And then obviously the final thing is like your own data segment. So people that have already submitted a form on your landing page, website visitors, your YouTube video viewers, your YouTube subscribers, etc. These are people that have already engaged with you and just need multiple touch points in order to build that trust. Now that we've broken down the campaign account, what you need to understand is the landing page as well. So obviously your ads are going to be driven to one offer, which is going to be on the landing page. And the typical flow, which I see with most real estate, wholesalers, etc., is this strategy right here. So you have the opt-in page, which can also be a VSL and booking page on the same page. And then you have a secondary form page where they submit a little bit more information. And from here, this is what's going to qualify them. And then they're going to end up booking an appointment. And those who are not qualified, let's say they submit their information just on the opt-in page. These are the people you're going to nurture, send case studies, testimonials, and just nurture them on a longer sales cycle till they eventually convert. And you can even show more ads and they can go through this whole process again. So just a quick example, let me show you what that looks like. So right here, this is my client, Ryan. I've shown him in my videos before. Here we have a low barrier to entry, just typing in your address, full name, email, and phone. And then we have a VSL here, him just talking about, selling your home for cash, no matter the condition that it's in, just touching on the pain points. So the offer is basically we can get you cash for your home in 14 days or less, without the hassles, without the work, without hidden fees, etc. And basically we just have, just how the process works, how we compare to traditional offers, and then testimonials. And you can keep it as simple as that. Another example is a secondary form here, which basically you just would submit more information. Is your property listed? How quickly are you looking to sell? What's the property's condition? And then they submit their information here. And this can get just a little bit more context to use as leverage when you get on the call to build more trust, and to just have more context when you're talking to them. And finally, the most important thing is the campaign management as well, because you can't scale your business if you don't understand how to maintain your campaign. So once you launch your ads for the first time, you need to understand that this is going to involve testing the performance. So you need to give it at least 7 to 14 days after launching to figure out what's actually working and what's not. This is literally just focusing on gathering initial data. You don't want to really touch anything during the first 7 days or even honestly the first 14 days. You want to just gather the data, look at it, maybe periodically every couple of days, and you just want to let the algorithm learn effectively through this targeting and through this optimization phase. After this, once you've maintained a consistent budget, you want to continuously refine the ad account through the optimization phase. And this is just basically purging campaigns that are falling outside of your KPI targets. So let's say, for example, your cost per booked call, you've noticed you have a conversion rate of about 10% of people that book in a call. That's actually relatively low. Let's just say like 30% of people end up converting that book in a call in your calendar. And it costs you $30 in order to achieve that, and you get a 5x ROI, and you're happy with that. Basically, any campaign that would be $300 or $301 or more, cost per booked call, you would basically purge those campaigns, launch new ones to replace them so you can constantly be testing so you're never wasting time or wasting spend on things that don't actually matter. And the goal here is to just focus on sustained performance over time, because most people make the mistake of throwing all their budget in one ad, and then it'll fall out of KPI, and then you don't really know what to test because you're constantly rotating and you're never getting a horizontally scaling effect. You're just getting a vertical scaling effect. And if it doesn't work, the risk reward factor is way too high. And if it fails, then you're going to spend a ton of time trying to figure out what's going to work instead of just, posting multiple ads and then pausing the ones that aren't working, scaling the ones that are. And let's say it's going to take you more time to replace the failing ad. You still have other ads that are producing you revenue in the meantime while you're creating the ad or replacing other losing campaigns. And then finally, the scaling phase is essentially, this is just similar to what I was saying before. Basically, it just focuses on increasing the overall budget. So let's say you have winning campaigns. Now you can add more ads that are variations of the winners and just add more budget. You don't have to subtract budget from already winning campaigns. You just add in more. And again, you're gambling, figuring out which one's actually going to end up working. Obviously, it's educational gambling. It's not just, you're throwing money at a wall to see what sticks. But if you're new to the game, you probably don't know what's working and you need to try multiple angles. But the goal here essentially is to just maintain KPI targets, even at higher budget levels, and just your goal is to expand your reach and your impact while preserving the efficiency of the entirety of the ads campaign. Now that I've shown you how to set up YouTube ad campaigns for wholesale leads, there's still a lot to learn about YouTube ads. And if you even make one small mistake, that could result in blowing thousands of wasted ad spend. This is exactly why I help wholesale businesses just like you start and scale their YouTube ads campaigns profitably from the get-go. If you're interested in what I do, I've included a link of my website in the description below where you can book a call with me. That aside, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.